If you've ever doubted the power of love, this story will change your mind. What started as a desperate cry in the shadows became a life-changing journey, and it all began with a tiny, injured kitten named Willow. The world can be cruel, especially for the smallest and most vulnerable. One stormy evening, while the wind howled and rain drenched the streets, a faint, heart-wrenching sound pierced the night. It was a kitten's cry, weak, scared, and alone. What I found that night would break my heart and rebuild it in ways I never imagined. There she was, under an old, rusted car in an abandoned parking lot, a tiny ball of fur, shivering and soaked to the bone. Willow. Her leg was bent unnaturally, her ribs painfully visible, and her wide, frightened eyes were clouded with pain. I tried to approach her slowly, but she hissed and backed away, dragging her injured leg. My heart ached watching her fight despite having nothing left to give. With patience and a handful of tuna I'd grabbed from my bag, she finally let me get close. When I scooped her up, she was so light I felt like I was holding a feather. The vet's prognosis wasn't good. She has a broken leg, severe malnutrition, and an infection. She might not survive, but giving up wasn't an option. I promised her, we'll fight this together. Little did I know that promise would test me in ways I couldn't imagine. Bringing Willow home was the start of a battle. The first hurdle was earning her trust. She'd cower in the corner, her tiny frame trembling, flinching at every movement. I spent hours just sitting near her, talking softly, letting her know she was safe. Feeding her was another challenge. Willow was too weak to eat solid food, so I fed her a special mix of kitten formula through a syringe. Every drop she swallowed felt like a victory. Slowly, her body began to respond. Her fur, once dull and matted, started to shine. Her tiny purrs became more frequent, a soft vibration that felt like hope. But her leg wasn't healing. The vet said she needed surgery to avoid permanent damage. It was expensive, far beyond what I could afford. I sold my old bike, set up a crowdfunding page, and even asked strangers online for help. The outpouring of support was incredible. People from all over donated, sharing their own stories of rescued animals. Surgery day was terrifying. As I handed Willow over to the vet, her wide, trusting eyes seemed to ask, "Will it hurt?" I waited in the clinic, my heart racing with every passing minute. When the vet finally came out and said, "She's a fighter," she pulled through. I couldn't hold back my tears. The recovery process was long and grueling. Willow needed daily physical therapy to regain strength in her leg. She hated it at first, yowling in protest, but over time, her determination shone through. Watching her take her first steps again was like witnessing a miracle. She stumbled at first, then steadied herself, looking up at me as if to say, "I'm doing it." Months passed, and Willow transformed before my eyes. The scared, fragile kitten I found that stormy night became a playful, curious ball of energy. She'd chase her favorite toy mouse around the living room, pounce on shadows, and curl up on my lap, purring loudly as if to say, "Thank you." But the most unforgettable moment came one sunny morning. I had left the door to the garden open, and for the first time, Willow ventured outside. She hesitated, her injured leg still slightly stiff, then leaped into the grass, chasing a butterfly. Her joy was contagious. I stood there, tears streaming down my face, overwhelmed by her resilience. She looked back at me, her eyes filled with gratitude. In that moment, I realized she hadn't just survived, she had thrived, and she had taught me something profound. Even the smallest lives can inspire the biggest changes. Willow's journey wasn't just a story of survival. It was a story of love, trust, and second chances. She reminded me that even in the darkest times, there's a spark of hope worth fighting for. Her story inspired everyone who followed her progress online, showing that compassion can turn tragedy into triumph. Willow now lives her best life, ruling the house like the queen she is. And every time she curls up beside me, I'm reminded of the incredible bond we share, one built on courage, kindness, and unshakable trust. If Willow's story touched your heart, give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who loves animals. Don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming stories like this. Let's spread the love for our furry friends together.